Hello and welcome to another episode of Stock Shots. Please remember, I am not a financial advisor. I'm just giving my opinion based on some things I see, like support and resistance, supply and demand, and of course, some indicators that may be on the screen. So always do your own due diligence. Make sure you educate yourself and always look to the left because we're looking at things that have already happened. Think about what things may do in the future. So this is another episode of Stock Shots. Welcome.
Okay, welcome back. We're talking about our favorite funds. Of course, that's going to be the good old fashioned C fund and the S fund. So let's get started with the C fund here. Once again, we are looking at this level of resistance at 6,105. We are not able to break it at this time. Here's the thing. We've been up here 2 weeks before. You could say three, but we got a big rejection off that third. This is the second revisit, or should I say, fourth revisit in about 8 weeks. So out of the last 9 weeks, we've been up here for 2 weeks. We have now started to get some divergence. So it is bearish divergence, but that could last for a very long time. The last time we had a strong move in strength in the market was down here, and that was on March 25th of 24 in the weekly time frame. That's this area right here. So this was the last strongest movement in the market. This is when the divergence started. So if for some reason, I don't know if it's going to be fundamental or if it's going to be technical, if we fall down and we keep going and going and going and going, I would expect it to go at its worst. Who could tell? But down here, there is a gap in the daily time frame. So I know that. That's down here at 5,080. Now, with this divergence that has been created, this could go along for a very long time. And it doesn't mean that automatically all of our funds are going to fall. All it means is that you should be aware that even with strong volume, we're not able to break this area of resistance. Look at this volume candle we had this week. It was a lot of volume, but our candle is still not strong enough to beat this resistance. So that does make me wary. The last big volume candle I have after that goes with this candle. If you notice, it's right there. That's a strong sell, very strong sell. The candle's like almost 2 times the size of this one, or almost a third, I'll say a third bigger than this current candle. But the volume is essentially the same. It's a little bit bigger, but shouldn't it be relative to the size of the candle as well? So at this time, what I'm still looking for a downside. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not in any funds right now. I'm still in the G fund. And even if you don't get any downside action, it's probably going to be a chopping area, meaning price is just going to zigzag, 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 zigzag until it gets to a point where it has to break out either to the top to the bottom. So what we did, we came up into this area, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. The question is, where do we go after that? Now we're either going to go to the upside or we're going to go to the downside. Upside, there's nothing there. It can go anywhere because there's nothing. Downside, we have areas marked off for where we would like to either re-enter after these funds go down, or if you're playing options, you know where to get your money. So currently we're at a pivot point. There are areas down here. If it goes up, I'm looking for 64.27. I'm just going off of algorithmic trading here. Then 69.70 for the upside. To the downside, I'm looking for here at 55.58, but I have a whole lot of stops to get there. If it continues to go further down, 5,000. So we talked about this area already based on our last strength. Then we have 4,679. Now this area is, to me, one of the, I'm not going to say best areas, but if you have your money in the market, it may not be the best area for you. If you're in a G fund, you may want to watch this area. Only reason I say that is because, let's see, Currently at this area, we have the 200-day moving average. We also have another pivot point. So if the market comes down, it comes down to there. I'm not going to lie. Mm-mm. Look, this is why you always make sure you look for areas in the past and you mark things out. There are gaps here as well. One, two, three. There are three gaps that go down to 4,200. So either 200 or we're going to fill these gaps if we go really, really far down. So, what are some things that could bring the market down? Most likely fundamental news. It may not be a technical issue with the charts, it may be a fundamental news. So, let's turn this off. Let's look at we got the S fund here. So, the S fund is doing the same thing. So, this one doesn't provide you with volume. But if you want to look at it, you can check out a Dow Jones chart. So this is a track of the Dow Jones or the small and mid cap stocks in the S&P 500, and it'll give you the information based just off this chart, but you'll also get volume. Now the same thing is going on here. Uh, we have been at this area for 2 weeks, okay, and we've been rejected 2 weeks. Also, we came up on some. Look at this is just bullish. This is awesome. Love it. Okay, we had a pullback. So if you missed this candle, you had a piece to get this candle. So then we got up here at our resistance at 24.71. After that, it was just no. The market's like, no, I'm not going any further. So if we look at this and say, when is our last highest high based on strength of market? It's around the same time that we had in the C fund. It is March 25th. So looking back at March 25th, we had a very big push up into 2100. We did a zigzag. We came in and out of a channel, a little bit out, a little bit out, all the way out, hit this trend line, and then continue to push to the upside. So we had to go sideways until we hit this trend line and then move upwards until we hit our new highest high at 24. So we moved 300 points up. Now we're doing this pullback, and I feel like we're going to come back down because we have a lot of gaps in this as well. Gaps starting at here around the 2366, going all the way down to the 2260s. So there's a lot of gaps here that have not yet been filled. So, question is, are you going to put your money into the funds? Or are you going to wait? I have no problem with waiting. Okay. First of all, I have not broken a new high. I don't have strong movement. I am cool with waiting. So let's see what the algorithms say. Uh, at this time, it looks like we're going to have a cross of the 9 and the 14, meaning we're probably going to have a slight downtrend if this is true. If it have continuation in this movement, I would look for it to come down here to the 2198 area and then most likely do the same thing it did back here in August. Hit this trend line. If it hits this trend line, with this pullback and then bounces off, hey, look, I might get in for, put it all in. Just like the um, the C fund. It may do the same exact thing, going sideways and then turn around. So let's look at our next one. We got the bond fund. So here in the bond fund, we're going to be talking about, we got a gap here too. Now here we're at the top of a channel. All right, we're at 97.40. Now we did poke above that 97.54, but we could not hold it. We had strong selling pressure at that point. Last time we had pressure like that, it was a buying candle and it went up really good. It engulfed this candle here, meaning I'm not looking to sell off, I'm looking to buy up. It went to the top of the channel. Now it's looking to sell off again, most likely to fill the gap down here at $96 and change. Here's the thing. We're never going to know what's exactly going to happen. All you're going to do is be able to guess and an educated guess at that. But based on what I'm seeing here, this is not looking too strong. It looks like we had a lot of pressure to sell, but we had a small candle meaning there were buyers here, there were sellers here for this last week, but no one could really gain the advantage. I have a gap here, down here, once again, that I'm concerned about. It's not being filled, but the bottom of the channel would be down here on the $94 range. So until we get a very obvious break of this channel like this over here, back here in June, I'm cool with just sitting on the sidelines for the bond fund. Now, the last time you had strong buying pressure or the top of the market would have been here around July 29th. This was the top of the market for the bonds. So that was our top based on strength. Now, let's go to our last one. So, our last fund we're going to talk about, of course, is the international fund. Now, this one I consider getting into, but since we had so much fundamental news, this, ugh, just news on news on news. It was like, I don't even know how I want to do it. And I'm glad I didn't. So I've learned that sitting and waiting is going to make you, a little bit more money than jumping in every time you see something where you like, I have it. So until I get a break of this moving average, I'm really not even considering it. And might say, hey, it's a break here, but I did not close above that break. This is the second time, 2 weeks in a row, we got to this moving average. I use a 48. It got here and rejected. And this one was a strong rejection at that. So we had rejection of the moving average at the 48 moving average, and we have rejection here at 79.86. I got a buy signal. That's great. This did come down about a third of this candle. So that is a good entry to go up. I do want to see personally a break here and close above. That would get me to get into the international fund. But with all the news, all the tariffs going back and forth, like, hey, I'll give you a tariff, then you give me a tariff, then I'll give you a tariff. All right. And then, hey, we got, it's just a lot going on in the news. And you know it because you've been listening to it. But these things are not pushing me to get into, especially the international fund at this time. All right. So that's our funds for this week. I hope you enjoyed the information. If you did, give it a like, and we will see you on your next week for the show. See you then.